They felt you yesterday, in a way you didn't even notice, and because of you, they are struggling more than you could ever imagine. You think silence means distance, but sometimes silence is where emotions scream the loudest. Somewhere right now, there's a person trying to distract themselves, trying to move on, trying to forget. But every small thing reminds them of you, a song, a place, a random moment when everything goes quiet, and suddenly you're there again. And the strange part, you didn't even do anything dramatic. No grand goodbye, no explosive ending, just a slow fading, a quiet shift, a subtle absence. But for them, that absence became louder than any presence you ever gave. Yesterday, something hit them harder than usual. Maybe it was a memory, maybe it was a realization, or maybe it was the painful truth that you are no longer where you used to be in their life. And while you were living your normal day, they were fighting a battle you didn't even know existed. This isn't about guilt. This isn't about blame. This is about understanding the invisible impact you have on someone and the emotional storm they're quietly drowning in because of you. Because sometimes the person who seems fine is the one breaking the most. Part 1. The invisible bond they never broke. Before we go deeper, tell me to continue when you're ready. There are connections in life that don't follow logic. They don't obey time, distance, or even silence. You may have stepped away emotionally, slowly detaching, convincing yourself that whatever existed between you and them has naturally dissolved. But for them, it didn't. Not even close. Because emotional bonds are not always mutual in their timing. While one person moves forward, the other remains quietly anchored in a space that still feels alive. And that's where the struggle begins. Think of it like this. Two people standing in the ocean. One slowly walks back to shore, step by step, until the water no longer touches them. But the other stays. The waves keep hitting them over and over again, long after you've dried off and forgotten the feeling. That's what they're experiencing. You were not just a person to them. You became a pattern, a presence, a part of their internal world. And when you pulled away, you didn't just leave physically. You disrupted something deeply emotional inside them. As Carl Jung once said, the meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. You changed them, and now they are living with that change, alone. The painful truth? You may have processed the connection in your own way, but they are still processing you. And yesterday, something reminded them that they haven't let go at all. Part 2. Why their mind keeps returning to you. Before we go deeper, tell me to continue when you're ready. You might believe that thinking about someone is a conscious act, a choice, that if they truly wanted to move on, they simply would. But that's not how the human mind works. The truth is, the mind doesn't hold on to people randomly. It holds on to what was unfinished. And you became an unfinished story in their life. There were words left unsaid, emotions left unresolved, moments that felt like they were leading somewhere, but never arrived. And because of that, their mind keeps circling back, trying to complete something that was never fully understood. It's like reading a book where the final chapter is missing. You don't just forget it, you replay it. You imagine endings. You go back to certain pages, hoping to find a clue you missed. That's exactly what they're doing with you. Every memory becomes a question. Every silence becomes a meaning. Every small interaction becomes something they analyze again and again. Why did you change? Did you ever feel the same? Was it real or just temporary? And yesterday, something triggered that cycle again. Maybe it was a place you both knew. Maybe it was a song. Or maybe It was just one quiet moment where their mind had nothing else to distract itself with. And in that silence, you returned, not as a memory, but as a feeling. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "Invisible threads are the strongest ties." That's what this is, an invisible thread, pulling their thoughts back to you again and again, no matter how hard they try to break free. And the hardest part, you might not think about them nearly as much, but in their world, you are still present in ways you can't see. Part 3. The silent pain. They'll never tell you about. Before we go deeper, tell me to continue when you're ready. There's a kind of pain that doesn't ask for attention. It doesn't create drama. It doesn't beg for closure. It doesn't even reach out. It simply stays quiet. And that's the kind of pain they are carrying because of you. You see, not everyone expresses their emotions loudly. Some people feel everything deeply, but choose silence over vulnerability. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much to risk being ignored, misunderstood, or rejected again. So instead of telling you how much it affected them, they learned how to hide it. They show up in their daily life. They smile when they have to. They talk to others. They keep moving forward. From the outside, everything looks normal, but internally, there are moments where everything slows down, and your absence becomes unbearable. Maybe late at night, when distractions fade. Maybe in the middle of a conversation that reminds them of you. Or maybe in those quiet seconds where they realize that the version of you they knew no longer exists. That realization hurts more than anything, because it forces them to accept something they never wanted to believe, that someone who once felt like home is now just a memory. Buddha once said, "The root of suffering is attachment." And they are truly trying to detach. But detachment is not a switch. It's a slow, painful process of letting go of something that once felt permanent. And yesterday, they felt it deeply. Not in a dramatic way, not in a way anyone would notice, but in a quiet, overwhelming wave of emotion that hit them when they least expected it. And they sat with it, alone. Because the one person they want to talk to about it is you. Part 4. Why their struggle is actually transforming them and what it means for you. There is something you need to understand, something most people realize too late. Pain like this doesn't just hurt, it reshapes. While you've been living your life, unaware of the depth of their struggle, they've been going through an internal transformation that only emotional loss can create. The kind of transformation that changes how a person loves, trusts, and sees the world forever. Because when someone feels deeply and loses silently, they don't come out the same. At first their pain was confusion, then it became longing, then silence. But now, it's becoming understanding. They're starting to see things they couldn't see before. Not just about you, but about themselves, about how much they gave, about how much they tolerated, about how they ignored their own intuition just to hold on to something that felt meaningful. And slowly, something shifts. The same person who once replayed your memories every night begins to sit with them differently, not as wounds, but as lessons. This is where transformation begins. As Marcus Aurelius once said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." You became their emotional obstacle, but also their awakening. And here's the part that might surprise you. Their struggle isn't just about losing you, it's about finding themselves without you. They are learning to stand alone in a space where they once felt connected, learning to rebuild their identity without your presence shaping it, learning that their emotional depth, their ability to love so intensely, was never a weakness. It was their power. And once they fully realize that, they will no longer look at you the same way. Not with pain, not with longing, but with clarity. Because one day the person who couldn't stop thinking about you will wake up and realize they finally didn't. And in that moment, the invisible bond that once held them captive will quietly dissolve. So here's the question you need to sit with. While they were struggling, changing, growing because of you, what were you becoming? Because connections like this don't just impact one person. They reveal something about both. Maybe you were unaware. Maybe you didn't feel it as deeply, or maybe you chose distance because closeness felt too heavy. But now you know something most people never realize. There is someone out there who felt you more deeply than you felt them. And sometimes, that realization alone is enough to change how you show up in every connection moving forward. Because the next time someone enters your life, you'll understand the weight your presence carries. And maybe, just maybe, you won't leave someone silently fighting a battle you could have understood.